What will happen to the stock market if we go to war with Iran?
There have been a lot of people nervous about what's happened in the situation in Ukraine. You would tell them,
if we go to war with Iran, this is what I'm going to change my investing strategy.
A lot of people say we shouldn't talk about money when the world is this unstable. But the truth is, times like these are exactly when we need to be most financially prepared. Not for greed, but for survival. War causes panic. Panic causes mistakes. And my job here isn't to add to the fear, it's to help ambitious men stay grounded and know exactly what history has shown us about investing in these moments and how to respond without doing something stupid. If you're new here, hello, my name is Vic. I'm a registered nurse and certified life coach turned personal finance strategist. And over the last 4 years, I've learned how to, and I'm on the journey on building real wealth while working an average NHS job. No rich parents, no fancy income. And this channel is for ambitious men who want to get smarter with their money and avoid years of painful financial mistakes. And just to be clear, this is not financial or investment advice in any way. It's based on my own personal experience and I practice everything I preach. And it's all purely for educational purposes only. A bit more of a serious video today, my friends, and I appreciate some of the content may be a bit sensitive. Any viewpoints from you, my friends, will be more than welcome and we can discuss them in the comments below. So please let me know. But like I said, my friends, it's very important in uncertain times like these to still be prepared moving forward. So let's get straight into the video. Please subscribe and share.
War with Iran, this is what I'm going to change my investing strategy. The first thing is nothing. It's a trick. I'm not going to change anything. I'm going to continue to invest in these high quality companies that in the long term will not be affected by the macroeconomic status of the world. I will just continue to buy into these companies weekly and monthly regardless of the price. If they go down, I actually want that because I know these outside factors are not going to affect the actual moat of the companies, so I'd rather buy them at a discount. But if you need to change your strategy and invest in different companies because of a war or different factors, you need to reassess your thought process. Now, I'm not saying that there might be different opportunities coming up because there's a war, like these defense companies, but I'm talking about your actual philosophy and investing strategy.
I was really wanting to react to the comments in this video on TikTok actually to see what other people thought as well. But unfortunately there weren't many at all. But I wanted to include this video because this guy actually, what he is saying is right. And again, I understand this is a very sensitive topic, so I am not saying this in any way for us to benefit, like the way he was saying about the price being discounted, especially if the stock price is down, which normally in war does tend to happen quite often. Obviously, I'm not disagreeing or agreeing with it. I'm just very neutral with it, just because regardless of what happens, you should still dollar cost or pound cost or currency cost average, as I like to call it, wherever you are and whatever your currency is, you should just continue to currency cost average wherever you're from, whether that's daily, weekly or monthly, depending on what platform you're using for investing as well. And obviously what companies, stocks or mutual funds you're wanting to go into. Let's look at what the world's greatest investor has to say about how to invest in war.
there have been a lot of people nervous about what's happened in the situation in Ukraine. You would tell them,
I would tell them it doesn't change anything. If you've got a wonderful business of your own, in Peoria, Illinois, why in the world would you sell it today because of what's happening in Ukraine? If you've got a farm that's producing for you, if you've got an apartment house that's fully occupied, why in the world would you sell it today because of what's happening in Ukraine? The same applies if you have a piece of a wonderful business or a piece of many wonderful businesses. They react too much to short-term things in the stock market, whereas they behave quite rationally when they get into other investments.
Warren Buffett's saying here, my friends, is obviously in general for all wars, not just the one in the Ukraine or Iran at the moment. The best way to analyze what he said, my friends, is by this quote that I just found just now. Let's read it together. The one thing you can be quite sure of is if we went into some very major war, the value of money would go down. That's happened in virtually every war that I'm aware of. Also, he said, the last thing you'd want to do is hold money during a war. Now, in this circumstance, my friends, Warren Buffett is talking not about generally in money, he's talking about actual cash. Because not only is cash depreciating every single year via inflation, but when war hits as well, because government spending is substantially increased and there's such significant economic instability, cash goes down further as well on top of inflation. Therefore, with the exemption of an emergency fund in which you would need cash for and makes sense to do so, of course, it doesn't actually make sense to hold cash because cash reduces purchasing power, meaning the amount your money can buy right now compared to 5-10 years from now will be less. Like, this is a fact. It will not be more, it will be less if you hold it as cash, which is why, my friends, investing is substantially important. And this is personally why I'm so pro investing and so into investing because of this. So whether there is a war happening or not, I would still be investing. But I'm not investing because of the war. And I'm not saying that you should do this as well, my friends. I'm not saying you should invest and profit from the war. I'm just saying you should continuously do this anyway on a day-to-day or week-to-week or month-to-month basis. Again, currency cost averaging, because this is in general the best way for any smart investor to approach investing. Let's have a look at some of these comments. My man talks in frames of 50 years. Exactly, a very, very long haul, long time period is the way that anyone should be thinking. This man is lost with reality, spoken like a man who has everything. I saw this comment by Gabe, which is a good question actually, saying, as soon as the war started, so did high gas prices. Explain that one, Mr. Buffett. Well, I'll very quickly explain it to you right now. I mean, this is obviously in terms of my own opinion, and it's all to do with supply and demand, because even the news of war or actual war actually causes disruptions in the global oil supply and just causes disruptions in the actual production anyway, because wars affect the infrastructure and actual oil facilities of the country that's targeted. It usually leads to a decreased supply of the oil, which means that when it's supplied and distributed around other countries, like me in the UK currently, that means the prices of oil will actually increase. So it makes sense.
US have just bombed Iran. What does it mean for your investments, and specifically the S&P 500? We can expect probably over the course of the next week that the S&P 500 will dip, as we see investors moving to more safe havens like gold and bonds as these tensions escalate. Oil prices have already spiked, and obviously this is not a good thing in terms of inflation, because if oil prices spike, fuel prices spike, it's going to be more expensive to fill your car, and that means that we're going to see increased inflation. Of course, obviously there is a human impact side to this. We're not going to cover that today, but obviously I do feel for everyone that is affected by this. But what we do need to do is look at historical returns in terms of when we've seen crises like this happen in the past. Just 2 months after 9/11, the S&P 500 had recovered to the levels that it was at beforehand. And with the Hamas-Israeli issues that we've seen over the course of the last few months, we saw 40% increases after the first initial conflicts. So what next? So if Iran doesn't retaliate, we can see that markets will continue to stabilize after a bit of a drop over the course of the next week or so. If they do, however, it's going to create considerable volatility, and we don't know how long that will go on for. Clearly, for long-term investors, this is just another thing that's going on in the background, and well, my approach is just to keep adding to my portfolio whatever it does. If it goes down, if it goes up, if it goes sideways. But these are uncertain times, and like I say, I do feel for the people that are affected.
Again, my friends, it's just a case of researching your ETFs or funds or stocks or the companies that you want to invest in, understand what you are actually investing in, and consistently dollar cost averaging, pound cost averaging, or currency cost averaging into that specific asset group and investment that you have, that you've chosen. And because investment is meant to truly be boring, and it's actually the way that I personally believe, in my own opinion, that real wealth is built, and it's been something that I do myself, and I'm actually running a fun money challenge to show you the actual proof of my own fun investment portfolio growing. This is why I've made my online community, my friends. So not only can you join the challenge, understand investing better, and also this is for you guys who have not even started investing yet, have just started investing, or are already investing and have built a investment portfolio anyway. It doesn't really matter. The whole point of it is because investing is boring. And the whole point of this community is to keep each other motivated, keep each other accountable, and consistently go on every single day towards growing your own wealth, because we're all on the same journey. Make new friends, have fun, and there's also plenty of other benefits to joining as well, my friends. So if you're at all curious, check it out in my YouTube bio, or alternatively, just click the link below this video. Danny Cole says, so if the market drops off, would that be an ideal time to buy? Yes, it would be an ideal time to buy, because any time would genuinely be an ideal time to buy if you are investing for the long haul. It doesn't really matter. The more price point entries you actually have, the better your likelihood of success. If I threw 10 darts at a dartboard, the reliability of me actually hitting a bullseye or close to bullseye is probably not that high. However, in order to increase my odds, if I threw 1,000 darts at the bullseye, then I significantly increase my reliability and chance to actually get a very good average on hitting the bullseye, aka same with a really good rate of return in your investments. If you actually keep investing at different price point entries regularly, like the 1,000 darts on the dartboard, you will have a significantly better chance of actually getting better returns over time compared to if you just invested every few months or so. It's better just to get into the habit, habitually doing it day in, day out, or month in, month out. In my own opinion anyway. Jacob Orton says, when will the drop be the lowest? On Monday opening time, 8 a.m. GMT in UK. The only reason I involve this, my friends, it doesn't really have too much relevance, but it's just because a lot of people actually think like this, and it's just like, oh, when will the market be the lowest? Oh, when will this happen? When's the market highest? When should I sell? When should I buy? Thing is, mate, unless you're a trader, it literally doesn't matter. And let's say even if Jacob was a trader, no one knows when the market's going to be lowest. Even with the best indicators possible, no one knows. So there's no point to try and predict it, which is why personally I don't like trading anyway, because it is essentially a form of gambling if you think about it, because you just don't know what's going to happen. I mean, long-term investing, you could argue it's basically the same thing, but you're significantly increasing your chances, like significantly increasing your chances of actually getting a decent return over time, because markets in general over time, especially over a 20-25 year period, have never actually declined depending on which index fund you go in. Tom Talks Investing says short-term expect volatility but long-term will be fine. Yep, I agree with that. SS says very vulgar video, not a mention about the innocent lives lost, just about money. Only reason I added that comment in, my friend, is again because the whole point of this video, I mean, this guy at the end of the day, his channel is all about investing, right? It's not about actually making money, and neither is my channel here. It's nothing to do about making money. It's all about investing. The whole point of this and this channel as well, it's to psychologically, habitually prepare, mentally make sense for you guys to understand investing and why investing is really good, because investing into the right things will actually outpace inflation. Obviously this is not guaranteed and this is not financial advice at all, my friends, but if you just leave your money as cash, it will definitely 100% lose money and decrease in purchasing power over the long period of time. This is why, and the only way to really hedge yourself is if you understand what to invest in. Just leaving your money as cash will not save you, because you don't invest because of a war. You invest despite it, despite what's happening, because you can't unfortunately just pause your plans because the world's going into war and the world's going crazy right now.
What will happen to the stock market if we go to war with Iran? Well, what most people don't realize is that when we go to war, typically the stock market goes up. Overall as a whole, but specifically defense stocks, because the government just starts printing money and starts dumping money into defense companies to help produce all the things that we need. I don't think we should go to war, but if we do, it's not something you should be shying away from. You should be getting your money into the stock market because you're probably going to see an increase.
It's definitely something traders can do. The government's definitely putting a lot of money into defense companies right now. Which one specifically, I don't know. I don't trade. I don't go into individual stocks in general. That's just not my investing ethos. However, this guy's saying that you should go into the markets just because there probably will be a price increase is very stupid, because we don't know that. And also, I fully agree in this case, I would not personally just go into the stock market just to make that sort of return. I go into the stock market because I've already been going into the stock market for the past almost 5 years. Comment down below, my friends, if you agree with this guy, if you would actually invest into defense companies. Obviously, I'm not passing any judgment here. There's no problem. Everyone's individual, so I don't mind. I'm just curious to hear what you guys think about that. If you found this video helpful or enjoyed it, please leave a like and make sure you subscribe to the channel for more content. Check out the link below to get even more value, my friends. I think you'll really enjoy it if you like these videos already. Please remember, I don't just make these videos for you, I make them with you. If you've seen something financially wild or just want me to break it down or do a topic on it, drop it down in the comments below. I reply to every single comment, and who knows, yours just might get featured and help shape the next video. YouTube thinks you like one of these two videos over here. Pick one and I'll see you over there, my friends.